this is what I would like to throw out there, though. One of the other questions I had, going back to not having to read the book in order to make the cover. One of the things that surprised me on Twitter recently, they had a conversation with a bunch of authors that had been picked up by rather big-name publishers, and one of those authors who's rather well-known answered a question from someone about her book cover, and she said that honestly she hadn't seen the book cover until just before publishing, just before it was released, and that she had no say in it.
That's true. That's very true. In the big houses, you don't have control. You're just, they got your story, they got your words. Now they decide. They'll ask you what you think of the cover, and that's just a courtesy. Yeah, that's true. But when you're self-published, you have all control.
Mm-hmm. So I guess it really depends on which direction you're going as to how much say you're going to have as far as the cover's concerned. Maybe that's one of the reasons, though. One of the topics that comes up on the show over and over again is which is the better route, the indie route or the publishing house route. And I think
that's a tough one. You're right. That's whether the chicken or the egg came first question. Yeah, it's a tough one. If you can get a contract, go for it. If you can get an agent who can get you a contract, obviously go for it. Though remember that a lot of people are published and never go anywhere. Just because they got their book published by one of the big houses, you see them on the $3 book pile. So there's no guarantee. There's an idea that if I have all these, then my career is made. No. You still have to do what we're doing right now. You still have to be involved. It's still your project. It's still your story. It's still you out there. And you have to do this. You see Stephen King out there all the time. You see James Patterson talking, doing things, going places, because that's part of the game. And if you think that that's going to be taken care of by, if I was an indie, somebody else would be doing it. No, there's no guarantee.
I heard an actor say something along those lines one time. I think it was a movie star, and he said basically after they're done filming, he considered the going out, promoting the movie, doing the rounds as just as much a part of his job as actually acting on screen. And I think that sometimes people forget in some of the more artistic fields that it is a job and it's work. So I think
that's why they call it show business and the writer business. The creative part is producing it and making the story. The business part is selling it. And that's the hard part, because you're also, but it's interesting because we have to sell ourselves, first of all, to get a agent, to get a publishing house. And we seem to forget that later. Okay, now I'm done. Now I will make millions.
Right.
Oh, I would, yeah.
Yeah, no, that never ends.
Okay, well, I found that.
I'm sorry, John, that's okay. One of the things that I think is so interesting is, you said before the show started, you were an actor initially, and you've written your own book with your wife, I believe.
Correct.
And you are now hosting shows, and you worked for the Blog Radio Live, right?
Right. Blog Talk Radio.
Blog Talk Radio, sorry.
That's okay. No, that's all right.
I think it's interesting. One of the most crazy things I read in your bio was the fact that you're a father of 8.
Yes. We have
how do you
children.
Find the time to wear so many hats with 8 children?
Well, it helps that about half of them are above the age of 16. That helps. So there is now time. That's why suddenly it isn't till now, after we've had these kids. The oldest is 21, who's going to be 22 in just a couple of weeks, and the youngest is 6. And this is my wife and I have been together for 32 years. So she's put up with me that long, that poor woman. Children. We weren't going to have them. We're stage actors, and we didn't have our first child until we were 30, so we had to catch up pretty quick to get 8. That was pretty impressive. So, it was just it's just an amazing thing. First of all, we even homeschool. That's the other thing. They did not. I work for a school district. I'm actually a school bus driver. But so a lot of things we do, is all they can learn from it. So it's amazing, and they're all very creative and also do their own things. Yeah, it's an amazing journey, and as I tell people, they're raising me quite well. That's what I tell them.
There you go.
Well, I have a quick question. If I could ask Aaron, how many book covers have you done, and then how many are you proud of?
Well, the book cover gig is new to me. Since I've been on G+ and had some exposure, I've done 3 book covers so far, and I have offers to do about 4 more currently. So I'd say the first one that I've done is the one that I'm the most proud of. And I didn't know how small of a thumbnail, you know, would get posted on Amazon, and really how important it was that, you know, that book needs to really have a punch to it at, you know, this big on the screen. I actually think Amazon does a huge disservice to authors by making this thing that's, you know, microscopic in size. I know, you know, server size and all this, and they want pages to load quickly and everything, so you keep everything to a minimum, but you know, you're really a little handcuffed when you're trying to design, and you have to make something that you're okay with and they're okay with, but then has to be seen in a split second as someone's scrolling by and has to catch their eye real quick. So it's a challenge, but you just got to do it.
And how do you think that comes? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rudy.
Well, Aaron, the thing I wanted to bring up is, do you read your what you write on Google Plus afterwards, or you just post it and?
Oh, I post it, and then I make sure to go back and read every comment. That
the only reason I say I want to congratulate you on that little award you kind of got today. You know, I mean, it's nice to see somebody it's recognized and get something. You know.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's going to be shown in a museum or an art museum in Leipzig.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know if you read my post after yours.
I did. I didn't get a chance to respond. I've actually been busy, and I was busy at work, and I saw.
That's okay.
I was going to make a joke back, but I wasn't able to. But yeah, I try to go back and respond to everybody when I get.
You can do the joke now.
Well, yeah. Well, you guys don't even want to know how much this hangout's costing me right now. So.
Oh no.
my speaking fee has rose astronomically. In the last
that's right.
No, actually, I had said to him, I hope he wasn't going to charge any more.
Yeah.
Now that he's got Distinguished honor, you know. But no, it's really it's nice that you know how, if I may ask you, how did they get to the point where they wanted you? Was it your art they wanted, or was it?
It was kind of weird. I had a series of 3 sales in 2012. Over the course of 2 or 3 months, this one buyer purchased, I think, 2 posters, and then 3, and then another poster from me. And I didn't think anything of it, and they were going to Germany. You know, usually if a customer doesn't have any problem with me, I don't hear anything from it. You know, if they send me a message, I'll get back to them. But usually it's just purchase, I'll leave feedback, they'll leave feedback, everything's good. So earlier this year in January, they sent me an email and said, hey, you know, we've been purchasing your posters since last year, and we're doing a show on social media. We want to use your posters as part of the promotional material and also use them in the show if we have your permission. So I was blown away. I had no idea this was going on. You know, they didn't tell me until they were pretty much a week and a half away from getting this show on the road and getting everything printed. So of course I jumped on the opportunity, and then the show went live in March. And just this morning they sent me images from the opening and a link to the brochure and showed my one of my pieces in it. And I was just blown away that I'm on a wall with, you know, some really outstanding pieces of art over the last like 100 years. This isn't all contemporary. It spans a great amount of time, and you know, I was just kind of humbled by all that.
Right. So if you were on the show yesterday, we would have been able to say we knew you before you were famous.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
Well, you know, if they change their mind and they ask you to come over there in person, I can go along as an interpreter. You know, I speak German fluently.
That's right. I watched a recent show with you, and you were saying that English is actually your second language.
It's my second language, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I didn't write my book. See, that was the whole thing. because if I write the way I speak, nobody would have looked at it, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's not a story I made up, so I lived the story, so it was very easy to get Darcy to really write. Of course, you know, she did took liberty on a lot of the things, and that's why we're holding up the second book a little bit, because it gets a little bit racier, and I'm afraid what she's going to do with it.
That's a book cover. Everybody would collaborate on the book cover for that one.
Right. Because she keeps bringing up this 50 Shades of Grey thing. I don't know what that is.
You don't even want to go there.
Okay. So.
Changing the subject quick now. Dan, though, I really do have a question, because we've kind of left you out of the conversation a little bit tonight, and I understand that you're relatively new to the graphic art scene.
Oh yeah.
But you're looking more into doing sort of the promotional stuff as opposed to book covers. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, I'm the sports information director at SUNY IT, which is a small college in upstate New York, and so basically my experience with graphic design is putting together event posters for our games, different events we do, and then actually, you know, the reason I jumped in earlier is I do a lot. We actually have a graphic designer on staff, and so for some of the bigger things that we'll do, I'll work with him, and I guess where I'm more kind of the client. And the way I got involved with this actually is I asked our great technical director here, Matt Frost, to do a poster for me. He did a great job on it, and you know, it's been a big help. I was really happy that I found out he had graphic design experience about 2 weeks before we were going to graduate. But it could have been helpful. But yeah, so this is, you know, I didn't have any experience with it until coming into this job about 2 years ago. And but it's great, and I'm always amazed at how much there is out there online to learn, how much you can teach yourself, and I think we've really kind of stepped up the product that we offer from the athletics department at SUNY.
Excellent. So do you see yourself kind of branching out in that, you know, outside the college realm, or?
You know, I think everybody should, whether you're planning on being a professional or trying to really become an expert, I think everybody should have some experience with it. You know, just getting to learn basic stuff, you know, Photoshop, InDesign, it makes my life so much easier on a daily basis to just be able to say, you know, it'd be nice to, maybe I've got 2 athletes that had a really good week and it's a good story, and being able to put that together in some kind of image that we can put on the website, that we can throw up on our screens, that we can print, and not having to go through the entire process of calling down to our graphic designer. There's too much. We put out too much stuff on a daily basis to do that. So I like that. I don't know, you know, I see some of the stuff that Matt can do. I see some of the stuff that other people can do. I can't imagine ever really being able to get to that level. But it's definitely, understanding it, I think, has really helped. And it's helped some of my writing, even just kind of being able to think of how to interface that with the graphics that we offer. So.
That's great. Well, so Matt, here, let me shoot you a question, Matt, because you're just breaking into this, and I think you're kind of going more the website and graphic design as opposed to book covers, although you have done book covers for me, so I know. But I'm curious, one of the things that's come up a lot lately with the websites, a lot of people are kind of holding out against WordPress and sites like that rely on templates. I mean, you can go in there and write your own code, but a lot of people are kind of bashing that, saying that it's not individual enough. Do you think that something good can be created with templates and stock photos, or do you really think that?
You know, I do, because I mean, even, you know, as you know, my website's from a template, and I don't feel ashamed, you know, saying that. And I think it's just the way that you lay it out, you know, the way you set up hierarchies, the way you contrast separate sections. I think it's more I mean, there's great websites that people code, you know, from scratch that are very interactive. But I think, you know, if that's your point to get across, I think that's great. But, you know, for my portfolio, it's not that big of a deal yet. But like big names like Adobe, I don't know if you've ever heard of Adobe Muse. It's one of their newest products that they're trying to push where, you know, it's basically just like Photoshop, InDesign, but in a web sense. So instead of actually coding, you're creating graphics and it's coding it for you. So I think, you know, Adobe's trying to tie the two together, and I think that's great. I think that's going to be the biggest push from here on out. But, you know, I think templates are wonderful, you know.
Yeah, I think one of the other things that's come up a lot, I've noticed, you know, on Twitter and Facebook and all the social media realms, is the debate on how important the website design is versus the web content. And this is something that's come up over and over and over again. How much time and money should you put into the actual design? Same thing for covers, even. Now, how much time should you put into those things versus the content that you have within it? And I often wonder from a designer's point of view, and I guess any of you can answer this, how important is it? I mean, how important is it to have that design down pat?
It's to me, it's important, but you know what? You're going to get this split of people who go to a site only to read the content, and if it's a blog or something, and they don't really care about the visual look because they know every time they go there it's going to be the same. It's not rotating. It's going to have the same header. It's going to have the same menu bar on the side. It's going to have the same font. They're going there to read that stuff week after day, you know. Initially, you know, when you're first going somewhere, you're gonna get that sense of design. You're gonna say like, okay, this is a nice place, but even still, you're gonna get people that don't care. They're from the old GeoCities days where everything was, you know, black background with type on it. You could barely read, and they don't really care. They're gonna go and keep reading. Sites like TechCrunch redo themselves every couple of years, and some people hate the new TechCrunch design, but they still go and they read it anyway. You know, is your font big enough? Is your font not big enough? Is your header a photo? Is it a graphic? You're going to get traffic if you're going to get traffic if your writing is good enough. We can only kind of hope that we're hired to spruce it up a little bit, and you know, people like what we do. As soon as we hand all those graphics over to the customer and they get put up on the site, it's kind of a crapshoot, you know. Are people really going to look at it? Some people might say, hey, who designed the stuff for your site? We want to work with them too. But 9 times out of 10, they're just like, yeah, look at the header, whatever, read, you know.
But
I hate to be so nonchalant about it, but you know, really, when you think about it, that's how it kind of works.
I see where you're going with that, but I'm wondering now, with the advent of the social media monster that has been created by us using it, so we've actually created this monster, is that a lot of people are doing their blogging, doing their posting right there in their social media area. And our websites, not to say that they're not important, websites are where we go to sell. Social media is where we go to move them over there. But we need to go where the people are. A lot of people don't have a lot of people rushing to their websites, but they will have people looking at their stuff on social media. And I think that's the other thing that we're losing sight of. We can put all beautiful looking pictures we want on our website, but if we don't get traffic there, we're not, you know, we're ranking a pretty place. A lot of our stuff is going to be in Google+, in Facebook. Facebook maybe less, but Google Plus is working towards where it's your blog. Suddenly your writing
I'm not buying the whole Google Plus as a blog thing still. You can do so limited stuff with Google Plus as a
But
blog.
see, when we talk about content, that's usually what we're everybody goes on the web looking for content. It's either pictures or it's content. And one of the things, whether it's Google Plus or whether it's something else, there's still going to be what we're looking for as content. And I think that's the one thing that we forget. That's what people, and that's what Google does, or anybody does with the search engine. It looks for content. Rarely does it go off and look for anything. You know, they have a picture area, and it's getting, the searches are getting better with that. But most likely, it is your words. It is your content that you put up. And I think that's the part we're forgetting as artists, is that's the avenue. And we have to find our way to work within that social media to get our message across.
Yeah, but you know, John, my little thought on that is, and they know in this circle here that I am not a software man. When it comes to doing anything on the internet, if I can't find it right away and make it work, like Aaron did earlier, you know what? I'll go someplace else.
I'm with you. I do the same thing.
And that's the whole thing. I find Google is I know they're trying to lead a new generation that is educated, but us old-timers are not that educated. We still need that book, that manual that says how to, that so-and-so 101, and Google won't do that for you. You know, if you
but you know here... Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
If you can't figure out Hangout by yourself, I know there's 3 shows on it that say, come to us and we'll teach you how to get into the Hangout.
But they want money.
That's a joke.
They want money. Yeah, all they want is money.
Right.
There are people who are willing to work with you, and I agree with you that we are, you know, I'm 51, so I'm not one of the young bucks out there either, though I'm not old either by considered, but, you know, I'm 51. I'm past the prime of what these, my kids use all this stuff as though it's just part of them. Right. They just it's just part of them. Me, I go, oh God, you know, okay, I got to learn this Tumblr thing because there's a lot of people on Tumblr. But you know, do I need another damn place I need to put things on? And I don't want to learn more. I'm happy I can turn the computer on. You know, so I agree with that.
It's like Aaron said earlier, and I agree with that. Is the fact that I've gone to blogs, and you mentioned blogs. I've gone to blogs and found them to be really, really neat. The word is neat. Oh my God, look at the way they did that. And then when I started reading it, I got turned off. So what the heck really did it do for me? Nothing. It brought me there once, And yet I've gone to blogs
the content that makes you come back.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
The content.
I've gone to others that just absolutely were just a plain blog, but boy, what they said meant a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm back. Kathryn, I mean, not to really,
Kathryn, yes.
Yeah, Kathryn, in your case, I mean, your blog is not fancy, but it gets to the point. It has people interested. And I was trying to do the same thing in mine. I didn't want to put the whole book on there necessarily. I put a few chapters, and boy, that would bring the traffic. And actually, the only thing good about the Hangout shows, when I go and I'm invited as a guest and I get to talk about my book, my sales pick up that night.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise I'm not advertising it correctly. I know that. Which is why I'm going to be the first one in line the day we talk about that, how to market something. Because I have to learn this all over again. Book marketing is not like marketing golf carts. And that's what I did for a living for a long time. But it's totally different, and I have to re-educate myself. Mm-hmm. And there's no place you can do it except you got to just sit in and go with it.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, there's I was talking to one of my classmates. There's a whole new career field out there where companies are willing to pay upwards of $150,000 to $200,000 just for a social media artist. Just for people to post to their Facebooks, their blogs, their Twitters. It's incredible.
That leaves me out.
So, social media to me is a tool, but I honestly think that people still like going to a destination. They don't want to go to a place where they read a lot of content and like a Facebook or a Google Plus or a Twitter. They want to go to somebody's homepage. They want to go to somebody's blog. They want to go somewhere away from the social media to read it. Yes, the social media is used as an arrow that says, "Hey, go look at me over there." But it's kind of you're the noise of the social media is always there when you're on the social media. When you go to a blog, you have a whole list. Maybe you're using, Reader, at least for a little while longer, or another RSS thing, or you have a list of bookmarks. You're going to that site. You're getting a reprieve from everything else, and you can just focus on one thing at a time. I don't agree with Google trying to be this end-all be-all when you don't have. I know it's still growing, although in 2 years I'm going to stop saying that because they've had 2 years to do it. You can still only put one image in a post unless you got a gallery going. It's not set up to blog really. To me, it's like a lot of people who use it like that, like Mike Elgin and a bunch of other people, are really there to promote themselves beyond their content. And it just doesn't work for me. I want to go somewhere else and unplug, even if it's still online, to read that person's words without my stream flying by and everything else and notifications popping up and whatever, and then let that sink in, go through the archives on the side.
Okay.
So that's how I kind of...
I'm with you there, except for the one thing you said about Twitter. The first time I used Twitter, which was the only time I used Twitter, it said something about 141 characters.
Yes.
I don't know that many people, so that wasn't what they meant. When I finally figured out it was letters, I can't do nothing in 141 characters.
Do you know what? To me, Twitter is an art.
It is.
Being an artist,
yes.
I'll type up a bunch of stuff, and then I will whittle that down and try not to use, internet slang or text slang. I will craft that tweet into something that is 140 characters. I mean, I use all the other social media. I use Google+, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr I just got into. But Twitter is kind of hit or miss with me. If I get the feeling and I'm in the moment, I'll go on there, I'll craft that tweet, I'll break it down, I'll get it just to where I want it, and then I'll put it up there. Some people use just Twitter for up-to-the-minute news and, breaking stories and everything, but there's sometimes I just want to challenge myself. It's like writing a haiku, 575. You got to get it. You got to get that feeling. You got to craft that thing. And I'm not a writer. I can't sit down and I'm a talker more than a writer. So if I can take that thought and distill it, then I've kind of conquered that 5 minutes.
It's funny the way you just put that, because now all of a sudden I realized we had Twitter 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. It was called the Censored. Okay. The Censors. Because I can remember, and my wife will testify to this, that when I was overseas, I was in the Asian theater, in places like that, I would write these, and I'm a talker, I'm a writer when it comes to just telling stories.
Yep.
I would write this 4-page letter and send it home. And when I finally got home, my wife said, "And what do you think this is?" She pulled out this piece of paper, and it was Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
They didn't even block it out. They cut it out.
Yeah.
Every third word was in there. She says, "I'm supposed to read between the lines?"
Yeah.
Well, that was Twitter in the beginning, wasn't it?
That's true. Yeah, telegrams and stuff like that. Everything was kind of, you need to be short and sweet, or
short and sweet.
Get out.
And in one case, it cost you money. In our case, it cost you your life if you talk too much.
That's true.
So that's when I told her. I said, the one time I went and she didn't get a single letter. I said, well, because of where I was, it takes 9 months for the mail to get here. So that's why.
You beat the letter home.
So, well, anyhow, it looks like we're getting close to the time. And the one thing I know I didn't do tonight, which I know Darcy gave me the cue and I missed my cue. I want to make sure that everybody knows that we're part of Hangout10.com network. Hangout10.com consists of a number of shows like ours. The primary goal is to inform the viewers of a particular subject, and I'm going to pick one tonight. The show is called Eat Alkaline Foods with Tatiana Barrera, and I watched her show, and I was there when she announced the creation of her first book, and of course it was in Spanish, and one of the languages I didn't take. Okay, but then the next day she actually published it in English, and that was No Milk Please. I should have known that leche was milk, but I didn't figure that one out. So, but if you want to catch her, she's on Friday at noontime, Eastern Standard Time, and just if you get a chance, take a look at the Hangout 10. That's the number 10.com. and see all the good shows that they have to offer. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to my beauty. I'm the Beast, by the way. That's the beauty, you know, in case you haven't recognized by now. So, Darcy, we have a couple of minutes left. You want a round table for 2 minutes?
No, you know what, I think that at this point it's pretty important that we let everyone kind of say their final piece. I've taken this from John because he's done this at the end of his shows, I've noticed. John, I haven't even mentioned your Google Plus show, but John has his own Google Plus show. You can see the title of it right on his lower third there. And I like the fact that you let everyone say their piece at the end, so I'm going to do that now, and we'll start with Aaron.
Oh my goodness, I'm on the spot. I just have to say, in a few months, I'm going to quit my day job and kind of strike out on my own as a freelance graphic designer. So
very good.
I've had a lot of people that I've connected with in the book and the writing circles here on Google Plus kind of give me a shout out. So I'm thankful for that, and I've been picking up steady business so far. So hopefully I won't be eating ramen too long after I quit my day job and move out to Boston.
All right, Dan, you're up.
First of all, I just want to say thanks especially to Matt for inviting me to do this. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks to everybody. Appreciate it. I will hopefully be using Google Plus a little bit more now that I accidentally created an account. And you know, it's been a great experience listening to some really accomplished people talk, and I'm just going to start now, and I'm really excited to try and learn from some of these things and try to implement it into what we do. I think you know, my last thought would be kind of when Aaron was talking about content. You know, I think with all these things, obviously we speak in generalities, but it really depends on what you're actually doing. And I know, you know, from a sports standpoint, obviously there's different things that people care about. And so you really have to always keep your audience in mind. I know it sounds like a cliche, but you can't ever forget it.
Thank you.
Well said. John, have at it.
Well, I want to thank all of you, of course. It's been a fabulous time. I've had a great time. You're all wonderful. Aaron, I love it. I want to go and look at your stuff and see your posters. I can't wait. And all of the rest of you, marvelous opinions and great stuff. And I guess my parting words would be, remember, to feed the soul of an author, read their books, their blogs, and look at the art that these people do. It's amazing. That's how you feed their soul. And share it. That's the big thing in life. We need to share. We forget about it. We're taught about it in kindergarten, and we forget about it as adults. It's mine, mine, mine. Make sure you share. That's the beauty of the internet. That's the beauty of our community, is sharing. Yep. So,
thank you.
Very true. Kathryn, is there anything you'd like to say?
I'd like to first thank Rudy for bringing me here tonight, and the support he's given me through my blog, and he's given me a little bit of encouragement since marketing is going to be very difficult for me as far as going out to do it. So what you've all talked about as far as web page, which I'm having designed right now, and just encouragement has really made a lot to me. And John, what you said about sharing, I think that's wonderful, about authors sharing, like Rudy's been doing, sharing other authors and helping everybody support each other.
Thank you.
Kathryn, I'd just like to say, because you don't have a bottom third tonight,
yes.
Can you just tell everyone where they can go to find your blog?
It's allergic to life, mybattle.wordpress.com.
Okay, great. And we'll have that on our website, too.
Yes,
so if you can't find it, go to SlushHeap.com, and we'll have it listed under Kathryn's name.
I definitely want to thank everybody, too. I forgot to put that in the beginning, because it was kind of last minute that Darcy contacted me out of the blue and said, hey, we want you on the show. So thank you guys for having me.
And let me tell you something. As many times as it kicked you off, thank you for coming.
Yeah,
right.
Seriously.
I was determined.
I think I would have given up.
Yeah, there's a piece of advice in life, and I'd like to share it with all you guys real quick. And I've learned this being a graphic designer working in printing. There's always a workaround for everything. It doesn't matter what it is, if it's on the computer or in life. There's a way to get things done, and you're going to stick with it and get it done. So,
well, I have it along the line. I taught my children is I find a solution to every problem. And my children find a problem for every solution I have. And I think with that, we can go ahead and say good night. If you want to stay a few minutes and just chat a little bit, that's fine with us. We can say some things we can't say on the air otherwise. But thank you very much for being here tonight. And next week's topic is actually on inspirational books. All right, Darcy?
Yes, that's right. We're doing self-help and inspirational.
Self-help and inspirational. So, you know,
we have some really great guests, so please tune back in.
Okay, thank you very much.